Hey my friends, how's it going? It's Ultimus, and we have way more content for Legion coming out of BlizzCon than I possibly thought there would be. I did anticipate the stuff coming out for patch 7.2, but I didn't quite anticipate the amount of content for patch 7.2 as well as a smaller content patch. So there is no way I could possibly cover all of the stuff, and especially all the stuff I really want to, in just this one video, because I really don't like videos going past like the 15-20 minute mark. I just feel like that's too much to ask to watch in one sitting. So I will be doing some other videos on some of the other points that I like to bring up and talk about, some of the cool features that I like to address in future videos. But for right now, I kind of want to do a flyby and just kind of highlight some of the bigger points and stuff, and we'll go from there. So, yeah, as of recording this, this is about 1 a.m. on a Saturday morning, Friday night, however you want to look at it. I'm just home from work, so I'm kind of playing catch-up from all the stuff that's gone on at BlizzCon throughout the day, from the WoW arenas, Overwatch tournaments, and of course, all of the leaked stuff. We have stuff for Heroes of the Storm. We have the anticipated Hearthstone expansion, which is really cool. We did have some Diablo 3 stuff, which was actually a little more exciting than I thought it was going to be. Necromancer class coming, and then, of course, a throwback to old school original Diablo, so kind of cool. Some new stuff for Overwatch, of course. Sombra herself was released with a pretty epic trailer. Very excited about it. I still think the Hanzo and Genji trailer, little cinematic, is my all-time favorite, but the Sombra one is quite ridiculous as well. And of course, they did release her moveset and stuff like that, but I will talk about that in its own video. I'm going to do a video just about Sombra, so I'm not going to address that too much. They did state that they're going to do a new feature with a skin for Genji, where winning 15 games, or I think playing was the word they used, playing 15 games with friends in Heroes of the Storm will net you a really cool Oni skin for Genji, which is pretty cool. So there's that. So like we said, we talked about Hearthstone very briefly, mentioned the new expansion for that. New stuff for Overwatch, which is really cool. New map looks gorgeous. Sombra looks really fun. Diablo stuff. New StarCraft stuff. And then, of course, World of Warcraft stuff. I'm not kidding when I said that I was completely caught off guard and surprised with how much content they are giving us coming with Legion very soon here, and how much they had to present and show at BlizzCon this weekend. I really wasn't expecting much, so I'm pleasantly surprised. So they had a whole panel on what's next, and this is kind of the recap here on the WoW website. There's a bunch of stuff. If you guys don't already do it, I recommend following Wowhead on Twitter. They've got a bunch of pictures and stuff like that as well. That you guys would love to see, I'm sure. They really want to, well, they don't feel like there is a one-size-fits-all type of procedure when delivering content with an MMO. So they do bigger content patches, and they'll do some smaller ones, which I could agree with. And so what they're going to be doing is they're looking at giving us, and they are going to be giving us patch 7.1.5, okay? So this is kind of like reminiscent of Vanilla and Burning Crusade in that era, when they did smaller content patches, you know, with a couple dungeons, maybe, you know, a raid or whatever, to kind of some filler stuff and some other cool holiday things, whatever they would do to add, you know, some stuff in between major content patches. And then 7.2 will be the next major content patch. So what's coming with 7.1.5, again, as they consider it a small patch. This kind of patch contains system updates, rewards, and evergreen content, things that aren't tied to any overarching story, so nothing major, okay? We're going to be seeing time walking in Pandaria. So they're going to be continuing with the time walking theme, and they're bringing back some of the dungeons from Mist of Pandaria. And they listed the 6 that they are bringing back as Temple of the Jade Serpent, Storm Stout Brewery, Shadowpan Monastery, Gate of the Setting Sun, Mogashan Palace, and Siege of Nauzu Temple. I can never say that word right. If you were a lover of Mist of Pandaria dungeons and stuff like that, this could be really cool. I could take or leave Mist of Pandaria dungeons. Like, I didn't mind them. I think there weren't anything in there like that stuck out to me as being the coolest thing. I did enjoy Shadowpan Monastery as a whole. Probably one of my least favorites to do challenge mode, but yeah, like out of all the expansions and dungeons, I think the Mist of Pandaria ones I could kind of take or leave. But I do like that they are continuing to add to the time walking table. which puts it on a really fun rotation and stuff like that. So really, really cool to see that's going to be continuing on. The Brawlers Guild Season 3 is back. I never did much Brawlers Guild myself, but I do know quite a few people who really, really enjoyed it. So in 7.1.5, they're going to be introducing a dozen new bosses. They say dozens of new bosses to test your grit. They're going to be adding a new challenge in the form of rumbles, which occasionally trigger and pull spectators into the action to take on a raid boss. So that's kind of cool. I like that they're testing new waters with it, and again they're trying out new mechanics, seeing what works, what doesn't. I feel like one of the things I said originally when we were looking at Legion, for some of you guys that have been with me for the past few months and even longer, you might remember me saying I feel like Legion is the thing where they're just kind of like throwing everything out there, being like, all right, we need all the crazy ideas we can do. We need everything possible, and it seems like they're just doing it. They're really like going way outside of what I think the norm would be here. So this is really, really cool to see, even on content that I necessarily wouldn't do. It's nice that there's a ton there. Of course, they say plus there are shirts, lots and lots of shirts, and a basilisk mount, just casually. Oh, and by the way, a basilisk mount. So that might actually get me to do the Brawlers Guild. Just throwing that out there. I'm kind of a mount sucker. They're going to be doing more micro holidays, or they're going to be doing micro holidays, I should say. Unlike holidays like Winter Veil, which run multiple weeks, micro holidays offer brief holiday-style events with new activities for players to take part in. For example, the citizens of Azeroth might be invited to celebrate a specific moment in their history for just a single day. These events are meant to be activities players can participate in for fun rather than for game-changing rewards. So they're going to be doing some of those, which again I think is cool. I think more like smaller stuff like this they can do that gives people just options of stuff to do logging in is just great. Stuff where people will log in and say, what should I do today? And so when they're not raiding or when they're not doing stuff with their main team and they're not pushing raiding in threes and stuff like that, there's options of stuff to do aside from just the normal dungeon grind, the normal battleground grind, stuff like that. So kind of cool, and I'm sure the rewards will be cheeky and cheesy and fun and all that good stuff, all the goofy stuff we love about MMOs. We have the Blades Edge Arena update. This one I'm personally very excited about. They recently updated the Nagrand Arena in 7.1. Now we're going to be getting an update to the Blades Edge Arena, which is kind of cool. Basically repainting it. Nothing should change as far as line of sighting and stuff like that, and clipping and being able to get caught on corners. They're just kind of updating the textures. But one interesting feature that they are adding to it is that your battles in the Blades Edge will now be shoutcast by an ogre announcer who will call out events of particular importance. And of course they're saying that they look forward to seeing how that turns out, and that is in italics, so it should be interesting. I think it's a cool feature, as long as I don't see it causing any balancing issues, because it's not like they're going to call it out preemptively. It would all be after the fact, so I think it should be okay. I can't imagine anything balance-wise being an issue. It might get a little annoying depending on how frequently the ogre decides to yell at the match and how frequent or how big of a variety his speech boxes or whatever variety he things he has to say. I think that will depend on how annoying it is or isn't. But it's a cool feature, and again, I like that they're trying it out. Is it game breaking? No. Is it as exciting as new gear and stuff like that? Obviously not, but it's little stuff like this that I think is cool to see. It just adds quality of life and a nice charm to certain maps and stuff like that. They are going to be updating and tweaking classes, of course. They state, Legion featured one of our biggest class overhauls yet, and since launch we've been listening to feedback from the community and making balance adjustments, but we've been somewhat limited in terms of what we could change in our hotfixes. The first patch, most of the changes up to this point have been constrained to hotfix-based numerical tuning. In patch 7.1.5 is when we're really going to tackle some of the broader class issues. We're taking a look at talent rows so we can increase the diversity of talents, and their example that they use is Barrage Row for marksman hunters. It feels like there's only one option in the row that you must take regardless of your playstyle. And there's room for fine-tuning, and we want to make it so everyone feels like they can customize their character to their liking. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll obviously see more than just marksmanship hunters addressed with this. I personally would kind of like to see obviously warriors looked at personally. I think a lot of warriors could say the same thing. They say we're also looking at relative weightings of secondary stats as haste, mastery, and crit. These are often pretty disparate for different specs, and this disparity can sometimes make it feel as if an item that should be an upgrade with a higher item level isn't as desirable as we would like. We want to make sure the gaps between best and worst aren't so large that they distort gameplay. We're going to be making lots of efforts toward that end in 7.1.5. And this patch also allows us to make some tweaks to specific rotations, look at how things have played out since Legion, and find where there's room to improve the overall fluidity and feel of the different specs. So, and of course, and more. Really cool to see that classes and different specs are being looked at. I really want to see them succeed in fleshing out the class fantasy and what it means to be playing your specific spec. Again, I'm rooting for them, not just because obviously in the end if they succeed, I succeed. Like if they win, I win. That means, you know, I'm having fun. But they've done such a good job with Legion so far, and Legion has potential to be one of the best expansions they've ever done. And this is, I think, one of the big things that's going to make it or break it. And so if they can continue to nail this or fix what's kind of fallen by the wayside, I think there's a lot of great potential here. So 7.1 going to be bringing a lot of really cool stuff to it. So very, very excited about that. And of course, they say if 7.1 is a small patch, what exactly is a big patch? In this case, they stated it is patch 7.2, which is the Tomb of Sargeras. We're actually going to the Tomb of Sargeras a lot quicker than I thought we were going to be. This one caught me a little bit off guard. Maybe it's because I haven't been paying too close attention to lore too much, aside from what I could pick up on listening to Noble and checking out some of the YouTube videos and things like that, and picking up what I can just for my own questing. But of course, this patch says they introduce larger pieces of content, which include a new raid, the continuation of the Class Order Hall campaign, and much more. So we are returning to the Broken Isle, where Azeroth and factions failed. They're going to say that the Class Orders will succeed, which is interesting. Both Horde and Alliance suffered some pretty big tragedies there. We've had some chance to regroup. They state we've got new artifact weapons, obviously new allies, all that good stuff. We've had time to kind of lick our wounds, bandage up, and prep to go back in. So we're going back to the Broken Shores to march out the doorstep of the Tomb of Sargeras. I like that they are going to be expanding upon the Class Order Hall. I like that we're going to be seeing some more questing done there, and there's going to be some cool rewards attached to that as well. There is going to be a new faction to gain some rep with. These ones are called the Armies of Legionfall, so pretty cool there. So there's going to be ancient buildings, stuff like that. Build up forces by fortifying ancient elven buildings and upgrading them to one of the 3 buildings. Nether Disruptor, Command Center, or Mage Tower. So very similar to kind of the Encourage war effort back in the day in vanilla. It's going to be kind of a server-wide thing. It seems the class orders will need to work together, that kind of stuff, so it's kind of cool. Oh, another thing I should mention that I meant to, with 7.1 and the micro holidays, they gave a list of some of the cool ideas, and one of them was something about remembering Encourage and stuff like that. So I don't know what that's about, but it sounds cool to me. Sorry, I just remembered as I was mentioning old school vanilla days and the Encourage war effort. So cool stuff. Going back to the Broken Shore, emphasizing the Class Order Hall stuff, new quests there, new rewards there, and of course, flying is coming back with 7.2. It is attached to the achievement Broken Isles Pathfinder 1 and Part 2. So there's that. Get working on that if you are falling off a little bit on that one. Definitely recommend having Pathfinder Part 1 done before Pathfinder Part 2 comes out. And then they also mentioned that there are going to be invasion sites very similar to how there was at Legion's launch. There are going to be all those throughout the various zones of the Broken Isles, and heroes will be implored to thwart them once again. As the assaults intensify, the battle will accumulate in a new 3-player scenario that takes the fight to the ships above. Which is kind of cool, actually. Like, eventually getting to that point where you can team up with some friends and be like, yo, you, let's go. And then it's like, all of a sudden, you know, you're Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum on Independence Day, plus, you know, whichever third they brought, and you're about to take the fight to them. I'm just saying, that's basically what it feels like, but I'm okay with it. As long as I can be Jeff Goldblum. That's all I want. Y'all can be Will Smith. I want to be Jeff Goldblum. Cool? Cool. All right, that's the agreement. If we ever party up, that's the rules. I don't know where that came from. What else? Attached to flying and the new class order hall quests that are going to be coming out with 7.2 is a unique class mount, which I am excited about. I am very excited about this. That was one of my favorite things about paladins and warlocks back in vanilla. It's what made them cool. At least one of the things that made them cool. Chain, fearing with no diminishing return was great as a warlock as well if you were good. But I do like that they are not just introducing general mounts. Yeah, you've completed your class order campaign, get the same mount everyone else does, but they're actually flushing out unique, completely different one. Each and every one is completely different from the other ones. Epic class mount. So that I think is really cool. I will post links to this site as well and some other stuff as well for you guys, so you'll be able to see some of these. The warrior one is insanely cool. It's a dragon. It's a dragon. I mean, obviously I'm excited about it. The shaman one, personally, I think is going to get a lot of hate, but I think it looks really cool. They all seem so very perfect to me for that class. The rogues are going to be flying around in a giant crow. Of course, the druid one is an owl. I think the bear form one looks like a bear on steroids. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy cool. The priest one is pretty cool as well, I think. I believe that one is an actual owl you ride on. And then, of course, I can't even think of the rest of them. Either way, they're all really, really cool. I'm excited. The Death Knight one is a little bit obvious, but it's cool because, I mean, every Death Knight loves the frost worm skin, so it looks like almost like a fell worm, basically. The Demon Hunter one is cool. Mage one's kind of odd, but it makes sense to me, at least on the side of a mage. So I think there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff coming with that, and I couldn't be more happy with it, honestly. I think they all look fabulous. Another thing, of course, new dungeons, the new raid, all that stuff, yada yada. The big one that I was really excited about was all the PvP stuff. Like, there's a bunch of PvP stuff coming to this patch. Saying inspired by Blizzard's other game brawl modes, Battleground Brawls will alter the typical rule set in Battlegrounds. A new brawl will be available weekly, which will add variety to the gameplay and give players some fun new activities to check out. And the few examples are, of course, South Shore versus Tarn Mill. Dive into this classic large-scale game of a team deathmatch. So if you remember that train wreck from last year, it was a ton of fun in a weird way, because that's what PvP was kind of back in the day. It was just a giant train wreck, and it was fun. Instant cap War Song Gulch. You don't need to protect your own flag, just grab and go. Just sounds like insanity. Packed House, 15 versus 15 arena. Like, yeah, that sounds great. Gravity Laps, defy the law of gravity in this brawl. I'm not sure what that's going to mean. It sounds terrifying. And probably the most interesting but hesitant one that I have there. Like, I'm curious about it, and I'm excited because it's new, but I'm hesitant. Winter Arathi Basin. Hello, yes, please. Low visibility and iced over waterways await you. Anything snow is my favorite level and zone ever, period. I might only ever queue this battleground ever again. Arathi Basin is one of my favorites. And having a snow version of it? Yeah. I'm gonna, like, learn how to play my Frost Death Knight again and call myself the Lord of Arathi Basin. Like, it looks like fun. Eye of the Horn mounted ram fights are the new PvP. It sounds crazy enough to work. I'm okay with it. I kind of enjoy the world PvP zones over in Stormheim. Yeah, where you get on the backs of like the rams and the bears and stuff. It's fun. It's quirky. It's different. It's not structured PvP, and it's kind of fun to step outside the box. Like, I don't want everything to balance. I want some quirky, fun stuff, and I like that they're giving us a bunch of new stuff. They are going to be doing some artifact updates and things like that, unlocking new traits, more than just dumping your artifact knowledge into plain damage boost, which obviously doing damage is more fun, but it's not exactly game-breaking or exciting in the same way that getting a new talent is. So they want to unlock new traits, customizing the look of their weapons to suit their characters as a part of patch 7.2. So we're making a few new system updates to go along with that. They say the first of these updates, you're going to be able to embark on a new quest once you have maxed out your artifact weapon. There will be at least 3 new traits per weapon, which is kind of cool. And of course, you can unlock the ability to spend a 4th point on every existing minor trait on your weapon. There will be approximately 15 new traits for players to earn and spend to upgrade their customize their character. So I like that they're not just leaving the artifact weapon as it is, but they're going to continue expounding on it and growing it. Again, I think anything less would be a missed opportunity. So I'm excited to see that coming. There'll also be new artifact knowledge levels to make sure there is adequate catch-up mechanics for those who switch between characters, have alt, and are just coming into the expansion a bit late. A variety of customization, adding new relics that modify 2 artifact traits instead of just 1, so that players can further guide the direction they want to change their progress. That's interesting to me. I wonder how that would be balanced. I think that raises some concerns balancing-wise, but again, it sounds fun. So at this point, I'm okay with it, just again because it just sounds fun and it's more content. And last but not least, one of the most fun things about the artifact weapons is the skins. Beyond unlocking new traits, the new artifact weapon campaign will provide an opportunity for players to show mastery of their class with a solo skill challenge, me likey a lot, which will unlock a new appearance for their chosen weapon spec. These appearances have been inspired by previous class quest lines that led to weapons like Anathema and Benediction, which if you are a priest and you have either Anathema or Benediction, bless you. It is one of my favorite staff models in the entire game. I think it's sick. Anytime I see somebody walking by me with Anathema or Benediction from way back in the day, I just can't help but just salute. I just have nothing but respect for them. And Roc Delar, which was the blossoming hunter bow from way back in the day. No grouping required or allowed. I really hope it's challenging. And completing the challenge will reward a truly distinctive appearance. Makes me want to know what the warrior one's going to be. Please, for the love of God, please, please, please be like Zinrock. And I know we've got like the one that's been done through the artifact, or through the archaeology, I'm sorry. But I want a high-res version of Zinrock, please. We've already got the Arcanite Bladebreaker, which is a throwback to the Arcanite Reaper. The only thing I can think of, like, what other iconic two-handed... Oh, you know what? Whirlwind Axe. That's probably what we're going to see for the Warriors. How did I forget about that? The Whirlwind Axe. That's probably what we'll see. Because I can't imagine they would do Hand of Rag. Gorehowl would be pretty cool. Again, if they're going to be doing it based on previous class quest lines, the only one that makes sense is the Whirlwind Axe. So there's that. Kind of cool. And of course, new dungeons as well. They are going to be adding a new dungeon to 7.2. They feel that, though, with Karazhan, and this is one thing that I want to talk about a little bit, they want dungeons to stay relevant throughout the entire expansion, so they're going to be upping the difficulty of some of the mythics. They want to be able to do Karazhan at Mythic Plus with Mythic Keystones, but 9 bosses is kind of daunting, which I could agree, actually. They don't really feel like it fits in the Keystone structure. So to address this, they say they're splitting the dungeon into Upper and Lower Karazhan. There will be 2 separate 4-boss sections that will fit into the system alongside existing dungeons and the new Cathedral of Eternal Night dungeon. This will bring a total of mythic dungeons to 12. So the Cathedral of Eternal Night is the new dungeon that's coming with the Tomb of Sargeras. It's going to be there on the Broken Isles, or the shore. I always forget off the top of my head. That's going to be the new 5-man dungeon. So 12 total dungeons, which is a lot more than we've had in the past few expansions. So really, really cool. I'm curious if they're going to split up regular Mythic Karazhan. I really hope they keep regular Mythic Karazhan to be still as it is, untouched. I think that was one of the cool selling points on it, was that it's a mega dungeon. But for Mythic Plus, I could see it being split, and I'm kind of okay with that. So all that to say, that's kind of the crash course on it. Lots of stuff coming. Like I said, I do want to pull back and do specific videos on specific things. I want to cover the new PvP stuff. I want to talk about the class order hall mounts. I want to talk about the new artifacts, stuff they're adding in the skins. I want to talk about Overwatch, stuff like that. So really cool, lots of fun stuff, more than I expected coming out of BlizzCon. It's got me really pumped, and it continues to keep me invested and interested in Legion, which is great, which is really great for me. Again, I like that they are taking Legion so seriously, that they are really hitting this just with, you know, all hands on deck, full throttle, full speed ahead. They're just plowing through this, and I love it. Even though for someone who doesn't get all the time in the world to play like I wish I did, it can feel a little overwhelming sometimes, because I feel like as soon as I get caught up, there's more stuff to do. But at least I'm not bored. I have stuff to do every time I log in, and I love it. So kudos to Blizzard. Well done. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing what else we get out of BlizzCon today, as you guys are watching this on Saturday. Fingers crossed. And I just want to take the time to say best of luck to my boys in Method North America. I'm so proud of how they played today. and I'm looking forward to seeing them hopefully take the entire tournament. I'm rooting for them. I've been Method North America for ever since I got into WoW PvP, and I wish nothing but the best for them. So good luck, and yeah, so that's that. But anyways, I'm going to draw this video to a close. We've been going on way too long. If you stuck through the whole thing, thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you are looking forward to most in patch 7.1.5 and also patch 7.2. Love to hear from you guys. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.